Hi. Hello, lovely people. Right now, growth and expansion opportunities, healing. And if we take advantage of this opportunity, we can really come through on top, empowered, and aligned with what it is that we really desire, because that's what's happening. The life is calling more of us forward, and part of what our human experience is holding it back. We're so silly. And how this started to come through me is that the way, if we take a look, the way that I started to look at is our heart is the center of our being. And the way that I manifest is I use this energy that comes through the center of my chest. And what I've noticed is that the more powerful manifester that I've become, the more that I've cleared the stuff that I've put around my heart, the walls, the barriers, the protections, because you see, the protections that we think keep us safe are actually blocking out what it is that we really want to come forward. So the first thing that I'm talking about tonight is that our hearts, the way that our hearts have barriers around them, life is pulling in these experiences to help us chisel away the protections, barriers, walls, all of the layers that we put around our hearts because of past pain experiences, heartaches, instances where we've been betrayed or hurt. And so what's happening now is that as the powerful creators that we are, as the souls in this human experience right now, we have these greater desires, and we know that more is possible for us, and we put things in our vortex, and we do vision boards, and we dream, and we journal and create what it is that we want. And what's happening now is that life is wanting to bring it through to us. So we have all of this stuff that we desire and want, that we've actually maybe even held in our heart. Life is bringing circumstances to break away these barriers and these walls and protections so we can allow in what it is that we want. And at the same time, we're being faced with the feelings that we have about ourselves. So we can't move forward into these empowered spaces holding on to our smallness, holding on to the beliefs about lack and limitation. Because what that really is that lack and limitation, the reason why we don't feel so great is because a greater part of us knows that we are holding ourselves back in that way, because what we want is available to us. It's really this close, but it is about the barriers that we hold against allowing it in, the beliefs, the fears, the protections, the past heartbreak. So we can't say, I want to attract this amazing love, and you did all the vision boards about it, and you have the sense, but then hold beliefs that nobody can be trusted, or there's no good ones available, or nobody can handle me, or any of that stuff, any of those beliefs, or any of the ways where you're like, I'm afraid to get hurt again, I don't want to get my heartbreak. Or if you're holding on to some of that past pain, that heartbreak, that fear that someone else is going to do something to you again, that can't come with you moving forward. So you can see the incongruence, the imbalance of what you want and how you're keeping it from yourself through the beliefs, the patterns, and the protections. That's why it's starting to feel so uncomfortable. So we're getting choice points. Do we want to just keep trying to fight and hold on to this pain? We really want to take a look at, how am I out of balance? How am I holding myself back? How am I denying myself, but this other part of me knows is totally possible? Right? So we have, the beliefs and the fears, and those are the things that as these experiences are happening right now, those are the things that are being poked at, either by a little pin or by a big sledgehammer, of like, let's bust this out. So hearts, barriers, and there's a quote that comes to mind from Rumi that says, it's about the barriers to love that we're you know, it's because we can dream it within ourselves. It's really about how are we holding ourselves back, the barriers. So the other piece, so, okay, now as this is all getting chiseled away, we're also getting the opportunity to get really clear on what is it that we really want. Because maybe in some of these circumstances, you're taking a look at this thing that maybe you're fighting to like make work or hold on to or not change. And maybe that's not even really what you want anymore. And so getting clear on what it is that you really want and claiming it for yourself. Because then if you're not clear, or you're living by default, or you're settling, right? It's going to feel uncomfortable because, again, that greater part of you that knows what you want and desire, that you're holding yourself back in some way. So these things that we're protecting ourselves, or the stories that we're telling ourselves, that's the imbalance, that's the incongruency from the truth of who you are, what's wanting to come through you, and how you're holding it back. And that's why it feels so uncomfortable. So you got to look inside. What is going on inside of me? What stories am I telling myself? How am I holding myself back? What old story? What protection? What is this wall that I'm holding? What am I really afraid of? You know, there's a quote, you know, it's like I'd rather to have tossed the dice and lost than to never have tossed the dice at all. Something like that. And, right, so are we, not going to go for it because of some past pain thing? When we're in balance, when you're focused, when you know and claim what you want, you're in your power. You remember, oh, wait a minute. And what's happening is in this time and space, it's not so much about doing, it's about being. So that's another part of us that's being shed, finding that balance. So being in the being and then taking the action when you are inspired to, not the other way around. Because that's what's causing some of the chaos, is because we're trying to fix these things outside of ourselves and change things outside of ourselves. This thing is disrupting. And so we're trying to like mold it back together. And in the space of being, we trust that life is unfolding as it's meant to be. We're trusting that we will be inspired to take any action as it comes. We're going to be coming from that space of love versus fear. So the first piece I shared was about our hearts. So what's happening now are the barriers that we've put around our hearts are being they're being dismantled if we choose. When it's hard and we're suffering, we're fighting that process. The second piece is about knowing what you want, claiming it for yourself, not living by default. The third thing is the balance. This has been some fun stuff that I've been playing with my friend here, is the balance of the masculine and feminine inside each of us. So we've got the masculine and the feminine, right? So the male and the female, but we also have the male and the female, the masculine and feminine inside of us. And what I'm starting to see, so inside of ourselves, so in the masculine energy of the collective and in the feminine energy of the collective, it's all wanting to come into balance. It's also wanting to come into balance inside of ourselves. So we're seeing it happen outside of us, and then it's happening inside. So how does this all go together, Kellyanne? Well, see it like the yin yang, right? So the yin yang, black, white, life is a paradox, everything exists. So when we're moving through these process of discovering these things about ourselves, the way that we're holding ourselves back, it could get silly sometimes, but don't get hard on yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up. See yourself with compassion and love and understanding. I mean, this is part of your journey. It's part of the collective journey, and moving through this, as we create internal balance, we create external balance. So how does this so it's all together. So in the sense of so we're opening up our hearts, and as we're opening up our hearts, the stuff that we've put inside there, the fears and the protections and the barriers, those are starting to become exposed. So we decide, are we going to continue? Are we, with carrying these, with us? Are we just going to actually move forward to, where the grander part of us is trying to come through as an expression. So some of that has to shed, just like the butterfly and the bark on a tree as it grows. And internally, the feminine masculine balance. It's just really interesting because, you talk about manifestation and creation, and it really is something that begins within. And a lot of this has to do with the ways that we're keeping ourselves from what we really want by these stories, by these false fears, by the vibration, like, where we put our attention is where our energy goes. So we have these circumstances that pop in, and we can shoot our energy that way, or we can just remain. And when we remain in that steady space, the outer is going to reflect that too. So I was thinking the other day where I am today and my whole journey that brought me here. And just even into recently, it's like there's information that's come to me that I wouldn't have been able to process, integrate, or accept if I haven't had been through this whole journey and process and experiences that I've had. And so I offer that to you, is that while there's a large piece of you that knows, more is meant to come through you, maybe feeling a little challenged right now, know that it's all part of the process and the journey. And when we fight it, it just makes it harder and takes us off, what is naturally wanting to unfold. So it's really fun to watch how life outside of you just shows up. That's manifestation. That's massive amounts of surrender and magical moments of manifestation, of really surrendering. So pulling away from the drama, pulling away from the chaos, pulling away from the stuff outside of you, and dropping into your power, claiming what you want, and allowing life to bring it to you. So I'm wanting to simplify it, and I want to also acknowledge at the same time that it can be challenging, because those barriers that we've put up around our hearts and our walls, they came in and they did a job for us, right? They've split off and became a protection. And as we're moving forward and we're realizing we don't need this protection, that part of us is going to kick up, and that's where it's going to be hard. So that's where the compassion and self-love come into play. Like I said, at the end of this year, I've been focusing on the clients that I have one-on-one. I have been going in deep myself, unplugging, hibernating a little bit, and really tapping into the energy that's around us. It's a powerful manifestation energy. And that's why it feels so challenging, is because of the incongruency with what you know is possible and the ways that you're holding yourself back. So rather than taking a look at the circumstances and why is everything so effed up, and why is this person doing this thing, and why is this not happening, and blah, 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 go inside. Go inside. Where am I out of balance? Where am I not, giving away my power to? Where is my focus? What is it that I really want? And the reason it's so hard is because that protection, that ego wants to fight. That part of us that wants to hide, that part of us that is afraid to be seen or vulnerable, or, is afraid what will happen when we get what we really want. That part's kicking up. But you get into your power, and that just dissolves naturally, because being in your power is what is natural to you. All this other stuff isn't, and that's why it doesn't feel good. So, trust your journey. I know that for the leaders and the change makers and those whose essence has an impact on the world are being very challenged right now, because you're being asked to step up in a big way, and you can't hide anymore, and you can't play small anymore, and you can't tell these stories about yourself anymore. And if you can shift your perspective to, from that space of power back to your mission and off of your ego personality, you'll easily or more easily come back into alignment with your purpose. You know, when you know it's your mission and your vision, you know, this also has to be a big part of your process, this inner work, this, you know, it's not all about the goals and the tasks and the checklists. So this inner work is imperative, and you tap back into your power when you are your aligned mind, body, soul. So if you are interested in doing something, not even interested, if you're ready, if you're really ready for some radical change, message me. Let's do some work together. You're going to be doing it. You're the leader. You're the leader. You're the change maker going forward on this. And so if it all excites you and it lights you up and it resonates with you and you're passionate about it, absolutely. Don't look outside, back inside. Where's your power? How do I allow that expression to come through me? Leadership is really changing into a new model. It absolutely is. But these, you know, some leaders from the past have been able to move forward with this stuff around their hearts and their protections and just kind of move forward with their heads. But the way that we've shifted in this world and the way our consciousness is shifting, it's coming from the heart, this powerful center, this energy. You know, I was doing some research earlier just about how, you know, can the body live? I mean, the body can live, right, with the brain dead. It can't live without the heart. Just see like this, our heart energy is the most powerful manifestation, creation, and it all comes together, right? Our whole system comes together right there. So keep showing up for yourself, and knowing that if it's hard, where am I resisting? Oh, I think that's it. Oh, hi. Just know that it's only hard because you're resisting. The greater part of you wants to come through. Let go of the bullshit stories and the ego and the masks and the pretending and the things that you're keeping, you think that you can protect yourself with, because they're actually keeping away what you really want. Thanks for showing up. Message me if you have any questions about what I shared, or about my work, or about the energy. You know, definitely tune in, like get notifications if you want to be notified when I go live. Let all of you come through, all of it, whatever it looks like, all of you come through. If it feels good, let it flow through, because that's what this is all about right now. Living our full, authentic selves, unleashing you, and, you know, unfucking your mind and living your badass, beautiful life. I think I got all the swear words in there.